Since 1954, this is Point of View, the world record-holding public affairs program produced at the studios of WDEF-TV Chattanooga and with underwriting community support.
Hello, thank you very much for staying with us for this edition of Point of View. You know, it seems like it's always hunting season in Washington, D.C. No, they're not hunting for game. They're hunting for the Affordable Care Act. Kill it, kill it, kill it. We've been hearing that over and over and over again. Well, there is a deadline for things that should happen. And Melanie Sakari, we have a guest with us today that's going to take away the no hunting sign but post a deadline.
Yes, so today we have Kathleen Jeter, lead navigator in this region. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we know that in DC they're trying to get rid of this, but it's still around and you can still sign up for next year. Is that what we're hearing?
That's
correctly?
correct. It's still here. It is not dead, and that is the message that we're trying to get out, is that individuals that either have had insurance to the marketplace or that they want to get insurance to the marketplace, that now it's open enrollment season, and the biggest change, I guess, from previous years is that it is shorter. So the deadline will end December 15th.
What are the key factors of the Affordable Care Act that make it affordable?
So one of the things is, of course, creating an exchange system or a marketplace system where individuals can go and shop for insurance. But probably the biggest part of that is that for individuals that have income between 100 to 400% of the federal poverty level, they qualify for subsidies, and those subsidies is the part that makes it affordable. So an individual can get assistance with lowering their premiums, lowering their deductibles, lowering the co-insurance, the things that they pay for the insurance.
So, taking a step back, we know that ACA was put into place to give insurance options for people. Have we seen an effect in Tennessee in terms of the number of people insured?
I think we have. I think when you look at the uninsured rates, starting back prior to when the Affordable Care Act was implemented to more recently last year, I think you would notice a decline in uninsured rate. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. And then we certainly recognize that, but I think a lot of individuals have been able to, for the first time, for a lot of people, have access to needed care that they have gone without, and those things have been detrimental to their families and to their health. So this is a good thing for a lot of people.
So what has been one of the major obstacles for people not getting involved or not signing up?
The biggest obstacle is sometimes not knowing where to go, and I mean, to be honest, health insurance is complicated. I think, even if you're working and your employer offers you a job, when they come in those wonderful times through the year and say, here's your insurance package, you're like, oh, what do I do? So I think that's for the average person out there. But the great thing about it is that there are individuals out here helping people answer questions and even help enroll, and that's the role that I play.
And that's what a navigator is someone that just helps kind of walk you through the steps. And, as a full disclosure, I'm under the Affordable Care Act. I've been up for the last 2 years. And one thing, when I first started working with you and going to see what this navigation is all about, you can sit down with someone and say, what am I going to have to pay at the end of the day?
Yes.
What are the specifics that I have? And then y'all help tell what is going to be more affordable to you. Is it better to pay a higher premium? Is it better to have a higher deductible, depending on your own individual situation? And then you guys kind of really walk you through the whole process. But it still only takes about half an hour,
hour
max?
I mean, I think I've gotten so good at it. Sometimes it's been less than 30 minutes, and I'm shocking myself. But yeah, I mean, that's what a navigator does, or any assister. As a certified navigator, I'm there to, number one, listen to the individual, kind of get a sense of what is it in terms of it's important for their health insurance needs, and then mainly answer questions. What is a deductible? What is a copay? What is a network? Where can I go with this insurance? How do I use this insurance? Besides actually going on the website and enrolling, those are probably the biggest parts of our
one
job.
of the things that I've heard a mention of a fine, and for people who already have limited income, no insurance, and now there's the threat of a fine. Might that be scaring them away a little bit more?
It is, but I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of the biggest things that I try to get out. Most people won't have that penalty. If you're someone that currently has insurance, whether that's through a job, whether that's through Medicare, whether that's through TennCare, you're okay. It's for those individuals, of course, that don't have what we call qualifying health coverage. The other thing that most people don't know in Tennessee is that because we did not expand TennCare, individuals in the state of Tennessee are automatically exempt. So if you fall in this TennCare gap that we've termed it, then you're not going to be penalized for not having health insurance. But again, more importantly, why you should come to an assister and get those questions answered so that you can get the right information.
And one of the things, I mean, you know, you've been in the community a while, you've had experience in Medicare and Medicaid. Even if they call in and you can't help them on the ACA side, you tend to know a lot about the resources in our own community and can usually point people in the right direction for things, even just free things around us right now.
Yeah, you know, I've been lucky enough to be in this business close to 20 years. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Wow, you started when you were 3?
I started
another
career. That is
I know
awesome.
about that in our last 3 minutes.
So yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if all the sisters do it, but I personally, you know, this is a ministry, and so if you come to me, yes, my job is to help navigate and help enroll you in insurance. But if you don't qualify because of the connections, because of the partnerships that I've been able to make throughout this region, I'm hoping to be able to give resources to individuals, whether that's prescription, whether that's connecting you to a community health clinic, whatever the case. I'll try to help as much as I can.
Does it break down ethnically and in terms of have and have-nots? Yes and no. I mean, again, this is based on a household income and household size. So there's certainly, right there.
You know, when you look at it, you could probably say there's one population that's you know, that have-nots. You know, I will say for Hamilton County, we're really kind of lucky in a sense of we have a lot more resources. I cover the whole Southeast Tennessee region, so that's Hamilton and all the surrounding counties. And the residents in our rural counties, they're really facing it hard. They don't have many of the resources that we have here in Hamilton. So that's probably the biggest difference that I see is from Hamilton to the rural counties.
Hey, you're in Polk County not that long ago,
I
so
was
you
just
get out
in Polk
there.
County, yep.
Well, so how do viewers get in touch with you? Where are they going? I know there's some numbers floating around. I know there's a lot of different groups that are trying to get involved, but what's the best information that they can get in terms of?
So here in Tennessee, we've created a helpline. It's called Get Covered TN, and that is the main portal that we're directing folks into, because you can contact that number and a representative will link you to the closest navigator or the closest assister. So I'm certainly not the only assister here in Chattanooga. We have a wonderful group called Enroll the Region. They're a volunteer group, and they do an outstanding job. So, and they're actually located at all the YFDC centers here in Chattanooga. So we're pretty lucky in Chattanooga. The city of Chattanooga and our mayor has been really open and embracing this, and has allowed us to go into the YFDC center. So for us, for myself and Enroll the Region, our helpline number, the 844 number, is the main contact number.
And they need to call today, but the deadline is?
December 15th.
Okay.
That's an important date.
Yes.
Only 20 days before Christmas. So give yourself a present. The present of good health.
The present of good health.
Insurance.
I'll take that.
I want to thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
You taught him how to hit a baseball. How to hit a receiver. The strike zone. The net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Thank you very much for staying with us on this edition of Point of View. Jasmine Holland, we are going extraterrestrial. We're going internally.
Yes.
We're going to have a lot of fun. I have my first basic question, but I'm going to wait until you introduce our spectacular guests for today.
Yes, we're here to introduce you to Tammy DeMirza. She is a professional intuitive, an intercessor, a soul whisperer, and someone very interesting. So, I heard you just came to Chattanooga. You moved here from Raleigh. That's super exciting. What do you think about Chattanooga so far?
I love it, and the people are very friendly. I've enjoyed being here so far.
Good, good, good.
Well, one of the first things that a lot of people asked me when I told them that you were going to be on the show, ask her, does she believe in angels, and are there such a things?
Yes, angels, any kind of non-physical being, which includes guides, teachers, masters, people who have crossed over. I can see Abraham. I can see all kinds of beings coming forward.
What about people who are of different faiths? Are angels part of the different faiths?
Some people like to call beings different things. Some people look at, I call them a team, because I want to not offend people who want to say angels or people who want to say guides. To me, it's all non-physical.
A guide, that's very interesting.
A guide, yeah. So guides are the same thing as angels, really, but Christianity calls it angels, and people that are spiritually, you know, and worry about spiritual terminology, they'll use the word guides.
So when you were 11 is when you found out, or you asked God to come into your life.
Yes.
You had a pastor, and that's when you started getting these visions, these feelings, you know. Immediately. So tell me how you felt about that as 11, understanding everything and then just learning about it and moving forward.
Well, what happened is I thought that everybody else was doing the same thing I was. I'm lying in bed and I'm hearing this male voice talk to me and tell me things I have no business knowing at the age of 11. And then immediately I started doing spontaneous readings for the kids in school. So they started calling me counselor. And I was like, why are you calling me counselor? And they said, because you're telling me things that are way beyond your years. And so I started talking to God constantly, because I was in a very abusive home. So for me, being able to have that refuge, that voice that I felt like I could trust in my 20s, I started realizing that I was a freak. And it was very painful to realize that nobody else was hearing the voices that you were, and nobody was seeing what you were seeing, and nobody knew about the information that I was sharing. So I had people running from me. I had friends running because they were scared of what I was telling them. And then when they would go home and find out, oh, your grandmother really is sick and she's dying, then they would be scared of me. So it's quite painful to know those things at a young age.
There was Stevie Wonder, one of the lines in his hit record, when you believe in things that you don't understand, it's superstition. So superstition is a word that's used in a generic, but that's not what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about things that are just as real to me as you and I sitting here. When I assist people with what people would call ghosts, what I call entities, I talk to them as if they're standing in front of me, because I see them. I'm actually speaking to them. They're talking to me. They're telling me about their past lives, or what they did, or why they're hanging around this house. So it's kind of wild to be able to transcend just not looking at the physical realm and looking at what is in the non-physical, hearing it, seeing it, smelling it, tasting it. Everything is involved in this.
That's so intense. So whenever you talk to people, what do they usually ask for the most? What's your biggest request that you feel like people are reaching out to you for?
You know, most of my clients don't ask me for something specific. What I have learned is that we tell them what you're thinking, what you're wanting to know, what you were thinking before you drove to my house, or what you were thinking before you got on the phone with me. What we do is really deal with people with where they are in the current moment, and that can change in 10 seconds. You can change your mind. And so God, Spirit, Source just knows where you are and what your needs are, and what is the most dominant thing is going to help you to change your life in a very powerful way. So we will go to whatever that thing is. So I really don't have a good definition of what my sessions are. It could be healing, physical healing, where somebody is in front of me and I say, your right back is hurting. Can I run my hand down behind your back? And they're like, no, it's my left arm. No, it's not. It's your right back. And then when I put my hand down and the heat starts, she goes, oh my gosh, I can move my left arm. It's not hurting.
So where do you do this at?
I do it on the phone predominantly, because I have clients, I have people that find me in Canada and Africa and all around the world. But most of the time it's on the phones. In Chattanooga, it's obviously in person.
That's so exciting. So I know that you have a book that came out just a few months ago. That's so exciting. That's a very big deal.
This book?
This book right here, The Inmate and the Medium. So it came out a few months ago. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a true story about a journey that I went on with a guy who had been sentenced for trafficking tons of marijuana, and he was serving a 50-year sentence. And I did a reading for his sister. This is all in the story. And then I became good friends with him, ended up moving to Florida, becoming homeless for 2 years because Phil introduced me to a Bernie Madoff type guy that stole everything I had. In the process of that and me actually being homeless.
Well, I have to interrupt.
Go ahead.
How come you didn't know that was going to happen?
I did. I did, but I knew to do it. I had actually been talking to God about finding a mentor. I was upset that God would send people to me, but he wasn't giving me a Tammy. And I tried to get a couple of mentors, and they got really upset at me because I didn't know at the time I was doing more than they were. The capacities and what I do and where I go were greater than even what they considered their gifts or their skill sets or tools to be. So they got mad at me. So I went to God and said, give me a school. Give me a school. I want to learn. I want to get this. And so I was asked 3 times in 3 different settings, we have a school for you. Are you willing to do it? Yes, yes, let's do it. You know, I got real excited. Yes,
go for it.
let's
Okay.
do this. And then he said, are you sure? Are you sure? Because this is not going to be easy. And I went, oh yeah, let's do this. And then I hear, Tammy, the worst story you've ever heard. The worst predicament, the worst. But when you finish, you will be so aware of my love for you, how much I care about you, how much I care about every single person and the details of your life.
We only have a minute left real quick. How does organized religion look at what you're doing?
Most of the people have a difficult time with it, but to be honest with you, if I were talking to Christians, I would say, look at Elijah and Elijah. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing Elijah and Elijah's work, and that was something that I asked God about. The spiritual people are very well in sync with what it is that I do, but because my work is beyond what a typical psychic medium does, sometimes they have to ask more questions.
And if they do have more questions, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is to go to my website at tammydemirza.com. They can sign up for my email. I'm going to start doing live readings on Facebook for anybody that wants to get information, ask any questions, as well as signing up for my email list, and then I'll let you know what I'm doing and where I am.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Well, we don't have a question about what's next on Point of View, and we want to thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I hope that you will accept the invitation to come back with us on a regular basis. Because we just scratched the surface on this conversation.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
That's exciting. Thank you.
All right, you have a deal. Stay with us. Point of View will continue.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Thanks for joining us as Point of View continues. I'm guest host Adrian Edwards, publisher of the Chattanooga News Chronicle. Joining me as co-host is News Chronicle multimedia specialist Marissa Burke.
And we are so happy to have Bring It's Jay Fever with us.
Welcome.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
So tell us, why are you back here right now?
Speaking about season 5, we're currently filming season 5. We just had our debut on Black Friday, so I'm here. Just letting everybody know we need the continued support, and that born and raised in Chattanooga. A lot of people didn't know I was from Chattanooga, so letting them know I'm here.
So does that help that now people know we got one of our own on Bring It? Is that helping some people starting to watch a little bit more?
It does, and it allows me to maneuver inside of some situations where our city and our youth, need to see somebody that's visible from our city. I reach out to my old schools, some community events, and just do pop-ups, random pop-ups. The weirdest request is like when kids get good grades and things in the celebrations, to get a call to say, hey man, it mean a lot if you just show up, because a lot of kids watch the show. Like I said, we're in our 5th season, very interactive with the kids. It reaches to the kids because it focuses on their age demographic from pretty much kindergarten all the way up to high school and the first year of college. There's a lot of following of the kids that participate and Bring It.
For those very few viewers who don't know about Bring It,
right.
Tell us a little bit about the show and your role in the show.
All right. Well, the show Bring It is based on the travels, the competitions, and the competitions that the dancing dolls based out of Jackson, Mississippi, led by Diana Williams, affectionately known as Coach D, who's a mover and shaker in the world of the collegiate and also dance competitions based around majorette style. It basically showcases the historically black college halftime shows that we see a lot. The kids practice, they train from different portions of the country, And each week we'll have 4 of the biggest teams, the best teams out of the country meet us in a location, and we'll have a competition, typically trio, creative, and then we'll do stand battle and parade. So each show showcases a different faction of the majorette style, and the kids come in and compete, and we have some pretty amazing shows.
You mentioned earlier about how you like to be able to talk to the youth and tell them, look, I'm from Chattanooga and look where I am.
Right.
Do you have any ideas of maybe some mentorships bringing back to Chattanooga or anything like that?
Right now we have a lot of moving and shaking that's going on right now. I know my friend James McCamey, he does a lot. Anthony Bird in the city. There's been like a new renaissance of people trying to get back in the community and give some energy to our youth, some faith, get them in on some things that are untraditional. It used to be football, basketball, and other sports when I was growing up. Now it's dance, and it's a lot of different things. So we're trying to get creative and get proactive and get into these young guys' lives, young ladies' lives.
Now, in the News Chronicle article, you mentioned that kids come up to you and imitate you.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Now, that's big time.
And not knowing how to get into broadcasting and not how to get into mass communications, and some kids that don't even have, excuse me, formal training, and having different tools available to you. My biggest thing was emulation. I used to watch Johnny Carson. I used to watch Michael Buffer do ring announcing, so I incorporated a lot of that into my style. Being present and being on TV and bringing what I normally bring to the table, being able to MC and command the shows. I got a lot of training through public speaking. So I've had some formal training, Dale Carnegie courses or what have you, but I did a lot of putting things together to make it work for me. But really it boils down to being able to apply what you love. I've always done MC work, hosted concerts, worked with the radio station WJTC Power 94 in town. Some mentorships. Did the broadcasting at Brainerd High School, where I'm currently the voice of the Brainerd Panther football and working with the basketball program this season. So I've had the opportunity to work, and do comedy, Comedy Catch here in town with Mike. And,
I'm sure all that has helped you sharpen your skills and be prepared for opportunity.
True enough. It allowed me to know timing. The Carnegie courses, you find a friend in the crowd. So projection, voice inflection and knowing when to put the high points in your voice and use your voice as a tool. And I use it more like somebody would play the instrument. I use my voice and microphone to command the attention of different aspects of crowd control, presentation of what we're doing in the competition, and giving a brief synopsis of what to expect to the crowd. And it still bugs me out every time I turn the TV on to see it.
Let's change gears. What is one of your memorable moments on Bring It?
Oh my goodness. Quite a few memorable moments. It gets heated in competition, so I've had to break up some scuffles and things, and if you watch the show, I've had to be instrumental in making sure that parties didn't interact. But one of my most memorable was an incident when I was dancing with Coach D's son, Kobe. When we normally meet up, in a brief intermission where we're down, not taping or what have you, and we'll Ron the DJ, will play some music, and we'll get out there and have an old-fashioned dance battle. Well, Kobe's nickname is Dance Machine, and unfair to his mother knows all the dances, and the kids around him know all the dances. So we were battling, and Kobe did a move called a death drop. If everybody knows it takes a lot of commitment to do a death drop. At the time, I was green. I had no idea, no concept. I thought you just put your leg up in the air and let Mother Nature take the rest, gravity, what have you. Learned at a hard time that, that leads to a concussion. So if you remember back in the days of 3, 9, and 12, when the days when we only had 3, 9, and 12, and 12 went off, and they showed the national anthem, and the guy Don't Litter in Tennessee, the crying remember the station black and nothing but pure static and black. So I saw that. I saw stars.
So what's next for J Fever?
What's next is continue the brand. 2018, I'm looking for a major, working with a major corporation on presenting the Let's Get It, Let's Go. Working with Adrian Carroll and a couple other promoters that are out of Charlotte, Milwaukee. During my travels, I made some contacts and looking to do a Let's Get It, Let's Go tour that's going to bring out some more teams and showcase and give these kids an awesome opportunity to come out and enjoy themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else about Bring It you want to tell us?
Continue to watch. We have some exciting things. Those that watch the show that Christiana went to the Rivals of Divas of Olive Branch And we've got some interesting additions to the Dancing Doll team, some interesting teams such as Black Ice that are coming in and actually showing their dominance in the majorette field, and other teams from West Coast, Heat Dance Line, Divas of Compton, and some other teams. So some intricate twists, and looking forward to season 6.
Well, thank you for joining us. Tune in for the next point of view to find what councilman is in the corner. Thank you.